Well, this is the story of the disappearing car. It was myself and 3 other people. This happened in late 1974 or possibly very early 1975. We were all students at St. Bonaventure University, and we were trying to come up to the Hinsdale house on a Saturday night about midnight. We had never been up here before, and we were coming down this road, and we had a map, a hand-drawn map that was done by some other students who had been up the previous year, and we were trying to find this road right here. And we knew there was some kind of an S-curve, that the road jutted off at the S-curve. And I know that in the dark we kept going back and forth and back and forth, and it was nearly midnight, and there were no other cars up here. But on one of our turns, coming around this curve right here, we saw a car parked right in this area here. We were driving my roommate's car, which at the time was a 1968 Plymouth Valiant, 3-speed on the column. And when we stopped about somewhere right here in the road, and we noticed that there was another 68 Plymouth Valiant, and it was parked right here. And we saw it and kind of wondered, where did this car come from? So I pulled the car right up here behind it. We actually just pulled right up here in the road, right up to its bumper. So our headlights were shining on the car. That car had its headlights on, the engine was running, and we could see 2 male occupants in the car, just very rigid, just sitting upright, looking forward. And we pulled up behind the car, and within about 30 seconds, the car just took off down the road, this roadway right here. We took off after it, and this was not a paved road back then. This was all a dirt road back in 74, 75. We got a clip, a pretty good clip down this road, and the car in front of us was kicking up all of this dust behind it, so at some point we could only see the taillights. And as we drove down this road, all of a sudden we drove through the dust like there was a brick wall. The dust just ended, and we went through and we stopped the car, and it was a straightaway. We're looking ahead, we cannot see the car. We stopped the car and we walked back a clip, and we could not find anywhere on the roadway where that car could have gone off. There were ditches at that time on both sides of the road, thick woods on both sides of the road, so we were kind of stumped. So again, we had not known where the roadway to the Hinsdale house was, so we decided to come back to this spot to see if we could find any clues. Well, I pulled the car up right about here and stopped, got out with my little hand-drawn map, and looked the whole area over, and I realized this is it, this is it. So we all jumped in the car, I got behind the wheel, I put it in first gear, and I started down the road here. I came down this piece of the road, and keep in mind, Father Al had told us that other automobiles that had come down this road, as far as investigating the house, they had experienced something taking over control of the car. When I got to about this point right here, and you can see I didn't come down that far, we were traveling very, very slow. Something took control of the car, the steering, the brakes, the acceleration, and I had my hands very firmly on the wheel, but the car just jutted forward, and right here the car went off the road, and we went down over, you can't see it, but there's a little stream right here, and the car went right over this, right down the embankment. And it really shook everybody up. My 3 friends jumped, well, in fact, we all jumped out of the car at that time, trying to figure out how we're going to get the car out. And somebody said, Roger, you're the lightest of the 4 of us. Get behind the wheel, put it in neutral, and these 3 guys in the dark pushed that car back up onto the roadway here. So now we're sitting, the car's sitting about right here. We all, again, we're in the car, doors are locked, real high energy, everybody's very upset, very nervous. I put the car in first gear and I start heading down that way toward the house. My 3 friends were like consumed with fear at that point, and they were saying, they were screaming at me, no, 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 you can't go into the house. And I really felt like something had happened, something anomalous had happened, and I felt like it was time. We had to go in. It was midnight. It just seemed perfect. So despite all the screaming that's going on, I did continue. You can see this roadway here. It's a little clip up the road, and the road to the house then beds off to the left. It's a little clip down, and we actually got up to the house where I was shining the headlights up on the Hinsdale house. And my friends finally, they convinced me we're not going into the house. So at that point, I put the car in reverse, and the backup lights wouldn't come on. Nobody could figure it out. I kept putting it in neutral in park, putting it in reverse. The backup lights wouldn't come on. So the two guys in the back seat, it was a 4-door, they actually opened the doors and hung their heads out, and they were guiding me back out that road to a point probably right up here where we stopped the car, and my roommate, it was his car, he was sitting shotgun, you know, next to me in the front seat. He said, get out of the car. We have a car coming here. He asked me to get out of the car, and which I did, and he got into the driver's seat, and he put the car in reverse, and the backup lights actually came back on, and the car was fine after that. We got out of here okay.
Ye
Old
UFO store.